The silly mugshot on social media. You guys inquired, how did Star end up in jail for 3 nights being charged with a felony 21 years ago? Do you have a drink? Do you have a chair? If so, get ready. Here's the story. Hey guys, it's your girl Star. I want to start off this podcast by apologizing for being gone for so long. I don't know if I got the RSV or whatever that respiratory illness that your little badass kids pushing around. I think I had that. So I've been out sickly on and off for about 2 weeks, and it was my birthday. So, shout out to Scorpio season. This is the best zodiac season of the year. All you people that want to deny that our season's the best, y'all can keep on doing that, but y'all know if Scorpios did not exist, podcasts like this wouldn't even be going on because we the trillest, the wildest ones ever. So shout out to all the Scorpios. But anyway, I've been gone for about 3.5 weeks. I promise I'll never do that again. I'm back, and I'm here to give you guys the story that you guys inquired about. So I'm going to start this podcast by saying this to all my previous employers, future employers, or whoever the hell you are. This is off the record. It never happened. It was expunged. I don't know what you're talking about. And it is past the statute of limitations, even if you do want to keep this shit on the record. So what you're about to hear, if you possibly hear it, didn't happen. All right, let's get to the story. So, you guys, when I was around 19, 20, I think I was 19, living in Saginaw, Michigan, that's where I was born and raised. Shout out to Saginaw, Michigan, Sag Nasty. Anyway, I was a local disc jockey, so I thought I was like everything. And if anybody knows anything about Saginaw, they know that, there's not too much going on there. So to be a disc jockey, that was something like a little something to me. So I was a local disc jockey at the radio station. I'm only telling you that to you guys to understand maybe my behaviors. Well, no, that doesn't explain my behaviors. I've always been an egotistical bitch. I've always thought I was a badass bitch because my mama told me I was. So what? Anyway, me being a DJ just added to that, like the arrogance of it all. I'm just being honest. Anyway, so I'm this DJ. I go to a local nightclub in our town. We only had a couple because it's a small little town. The place was called Hollywood Nights. I'm pretty sure it's closed now. They better be. And I was in there with my friend, Jessica. Shout out to my girlfriend, Jessica. And we're just playing around. And when you're young, you're like 19, 20, and you use your hands when you're telling a story. Like, something's funny, and you like smack your friend in the arm, like, ha, 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 ha. You like, punch him in the arm, just like being silly. So that's what was happening. Me and her were joking about something, probably boys, like, this dude is stupid, ha, 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 whatever, hit her in the arm, whatever. So some man was watching me or us for whatever reason. I don't know. No shade to white people. I don't know why y'all always looking at us and watching what we do when it ain't got shit to do with you. But a white man was looking at me, and he approached me with my girlfriend and said, "Hey, stop all of that roughhousing in here." At the time, I didn't know what the hell roughhousing meant. Like, use a word that I know what the fuck you talking about. But now I know roughhousing means like, just like being rough, being aggressive, I guess they'd say. And I explained to him, first of all, I don't know who the fuck you are. Get out of my face. This is my friend and I'm playing with her. I'm not attacking her. Get the hell out of my face. Of course, he didn't like the way I said that to him, but he walked away and was like, "You heard what I said." So I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy? So me and my girlfriend go back to party and dancing. I used to be a dancing machine. And it starts happening, and I don't know if it was 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, I forgot, what this man told me. And why would I remember? You don't even have the authority to tell me anything to do. So anyway, I wasn't thinking about it anymore. So he then approaches me the second time. And this time, he grabs my arm and turns me around and goes, "What did I say about that roughhousing? Stop with that shit in here," or something like that. And I said, "First of all, sir, don't you ever fucking put your hands on me in your life, number one. And number two, again, who are you? Get the fuck out of my face. And this is my friend." I try to explain that to the guy. Of course, at this point, he is fuming. Who is this girl, and especially this little black girl, talking to him like that? The fuck me. That's who it was. He didn't know that I was raised who I was raised by. And that's a whole nother story. But anyway, he then walked away. And at this point, I'm assuming he's seething mad. How dare this girl talk to me like this? And I'm thinking, how dare you even think you can approach my ass? Who are you? And excuse me? So third time, I'm talking again. We're joking, whatever. I don't know if I touched her. I don't know what happened. But he then comes the third time and says, didn't I tell you about that shit? I told you about that roughhousing it. And at this point, I said, look here, fucking piece of shit. I don't know who you are and what your thing is with me, but I don't have to listen to anything you fucking say. Get the fuck out of my face. And at that point, he grabbed me by my neck. Again, 95 pounds, soaking wet. This man was about 6'4", huge, long ass beard like Duck Dynasty. Imagine those guys from Duck Dynasty pulling a black girl out by her neck from a nightclub. He dragged me out by my neck out of the nightclub and threw me on the pavement like a fucking rag doll. Just imagine Dr. Phil from Fresh Prince. Was it Dr. Phil? Yeah, Dr. Phil from Fresh Prince throwing DJ Jazzy Jeff, no pun intended with the DJ part, out of the house when he used to throw him out of the house. That's exactly how I looked, like dead ass. That's how I looked. And I was a girl, a female, being attacked by a man. So I get thrown on the floor. Everyone sees it. They're like, oh my God, oh my God. My girlfriend runs out like, oh my God. And at that point, I'm on the ground. And as I'm getting up, I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck happened? And from there, I say to them, go and get this guy. Jump up and I go, get this guy. He just attacked me. And the bouncers or the owner at the door says to me, her response to me, instead of being like, oh my God, are you okay? What can I do? Try to assist me, trying to help me get up. She goes, what did you just do? And then from there, I go, what? What did I just do? This guy, you just saw what he did to me. It doesn't matter what I just did. I just got thrown out by my neck by this huge guy. Go and fucking get this guy now. And then that's when she looked at me and says, get away from our establishment. We don't need trouble from people like you. Get out of here. We don't need this. And I looked at her and I go, people like me, what did I just do? She said, get away from here. You're trouble. And from that moment, I'm not trying to bring light to Chris Brown and the Rihanna situation. I will never be for domestic violence. But I remember when the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation happened and he kept on going around doing these interviews saying, I blacked out. I don't know what happened. I just remember thinking, although what he did was fucked up and her face was a mess, and Chris Brown, you deserved all the backlash you got for that. I said, there is such thing as blacking out, because I blacked out around 10 years ago. I remember what it felt like. So I blacked out at that moment when she said, you're trouble, get away from here. I literally was like, what? So I walked to my car. I don't even remember how I got there. I don't know. Jessica was trying to hold me back. She was like, girl, but I don't remember. But I walked away from the club and walked to my car, which was parked around 2 blocks away. And from there, in my blackout moment, I said, you need to find a weapon so that you can murder this man. I want to explain something to you about my beautiful mother. May she rest in peace. The one thing she taught me about violence against men towards women, she never said, be understanding. Well, anyway, she just never said probably the typical things that you would think a mother would say to a daughter in regards to abuse. Her only thing she ever told me was, if a man ever puts his hands on you, kill him first and ask questions later. And if you don't understand what that means is there could not be anything that he says to you that will be a good enough explanation on why he put his hands on you. So just kill his ass. So this is all I knew and heard. And really a man that I don't even know put his hands on me. So he had to die. So I'm looking for a weapon that I assumed in my blackout moment was just going to pop up. I thought a gun, a knife, a sword, anything was going to pop up under my seat. I was looking in my glove department. I was looking under my visor. I said, weapon, appear. Okay, you need to take this man out. This was my thought process. Of course, I didn't find any of those things because I don't own actual weapons. So after I looked through my whole car, front and back seat, I made it to my trunk. And this is where the true trouble starts. Because I am a female, I'm not trying to say only females do this, but I don't know men that do. I am known to drive on E all the time. And I used to drive on E all the time and I would run out of gas. It happened to me at least 2 to 3 times. So my father at a certain point had given me a gas can so that if I do get caught out with no gas, he could, fill me up. So when I looked at my trunk, I see this gas can. And my thought process, again, being blacked out, was, okay, here's my weapon. What I was going to do with this weapon, I can't really tell you, but I ended up telling her minutes later. So from there, this is where, again, guys, I'm not trying to tell you how to commit a crime, but this is where I know I went wrong. If I would have left my car where it was, walked up to the club with a gas can and did what I'm about to tell you I did, I might have gotten away. But because I wasn't in my sane mind, I drove my car from where it was parked to the front of the club and then did what I did. So I drove the car up there. I get out of my car and everyone's like, a couple of people are like, oh, you're the girl that just got thrown out. I'm embarrassed. Like, oh my God, these motherfuckers know me now. Like, by being the girl thrown out, not the celebrity of the town. Okay, this is becoming a problem. So I go and knock on the door. At this point, they had locked the doors down because they were over capacity and probably because of the incident that happened to me. I don't know. But I'd heard it was because they were over capacity. So I knock on the door and the bouncer owner, well, I come to find out it was the owner at this point, opens the door and was like, what are you doing here? What do you want? And I said to her, listen, ma'am, I don't know what the fuck your problem is and who this guy is, but you need to go and get him and bring his ass out here. And he needs to go to jail for attacking me. Like, what the fuck is the problem? Like, he committed a crime. And she's like, listen, I told you to get away from here and we want no problems from you. And she slams the door in my face. And from there, I said to myself, Star, Shamika, whatever you want to call me, listen. You tried to do it the good way. You tried to do it the nice way. You gave them a nice option. They didn't want to listen to it. Now you just got to do what you have to do. And from there, that's when I proceeded to then go to my car, get the gas can, and put it behind my back. I knocked on the door again. She opens the door. She goes, what do you want? I said, get away from here. I said, listen, ma'am, and bear with me, white people. I said to her, listen, ma'am, you wanted to treat me like a nigga? Here goes your nigga. You got two options. You either get him, he comes out and goes to jail for what he did to me, or you all come out crisp. Which one do you want? And at that moment, she said to me, are you threatening to burn down this club? And then that's when I snapped back into reality. The blackout phase was over. I said, oh shit, I just threatened to burn down a nightclub with all my friends in it. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So when she said that, I didn't even say anything back, I don't believe. I just walked away, got in my car, and this is where another part of the story gets interesting. When I was driving away, it happened to be summer, all my windows was down. There was a girl out there smoking a cigarette, probably drunk out of her mind. She saw the incident. She says, yes, burn that fucker down. They won't let us in. And she threw her lighter in my car before I drove away. So that part of the story is a issue because of what happens next. So I only lived Saginaw from the top of Saginaw to the bottom is maybe 15 to 20 minutes from front to bottom. So I lived only maybe 5 minutes from the nightclub that this happened at. Within 2 minutes to 3 minutes of me leaving, I have 3 cop cars in back of me, one with a bullhorn saying, pull over, sirens on, like it was a damn, like the Set It Off movie, bitch. Like I had robbed a damn bank. They were after me. So when they approached me, I'm like, tough, badass, like, yep, sure. He was like, hey, ma'am, your car matches the description. You match the description of a person that just threatened to burn down a nightclub. Did you just threaten to burn down Hollywood Nights? That's what this cop says to me. And I said, oh, hell yeah, I'm her. I was just attacked. Yes, it was me. And are you guys going to get that guy? Like, I'm just talking. He was like, listen. And he kind of giggled. He was like, I get it, but you can't go around saying you're going to burn, places down because you're upset. And I said, I get it. Okay, it's over. I'm going, like, what the fuck? So he was like, I need to, just come with me. So he puts me in the backseat of the cop car, but with no handcuffs. I think he thinks it's kind of like humorous. I have a Playboy shirt on, guys. Like I'm look a little cute. And he knows I'm just a young, silly little girl, And so he puts me in the backseat. He calls to his lieutenant, I guess, who was at Hollywood Nights on the scene. It's like, hey, I got the girl. She told me the situation. What do you want me to do with her? And then from there, the lieutenant says, take her to the county. And then he was like, take her to the county. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then he was like, what? He was like, county jail? And then when he says that, I go, did he just and I go, what? And he's like, man, wait. And he goes, you want me to take her to the county? She didn't. And he was like, listen, I'm standing here and I smell gasoline. It smells like gasoline in front of this nightclub. And the owner said she poured out some gasoline before she left. And he was like, what did you find on her? He said, I found a gas can on her and a lighter. He said, exactly. If she would have gotten to that lighter, this whole place could be burnt down. Take her to the county. I was like, no. He's lying. They're lying. There was no gas in the gas can. The girl threw the lighter in my window. I didn't even have the lighter. Like it was I started like the whole like Tupac thug, went out of my soul. I turned into like Britney Spears, like I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. Like straight up Britney conservatorship. No shade to Britney. Like put me down. Like I got soft. I'm crying. Please. Oh my God. He gets me out. He puts me in handcuffs. He's like, I'm sorry, but you have to go to the county. From there, I got put in jail. And what I'm going to tell you guys is a lot of people know this now after all the first 48 and all these cop shows that have come out in the last 20 years. But back then we didn't have these shows. Don't ever go to jail over the holiday weekend. This was Memorial Day weekend. So that means you can't see the judge on Monday. You have to wait an extra day or two to see the judge. So just don't ever get in trouble over a holiday weekend because you're going to stay in there a day or two longer. I did not know this. So I got thrown in jail with this Playboy shirt on. And the first day I was there, of course, they give you a opportunity to call your parents. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get out. I'm going to tell my mom that I slept at someone's house for a couple of nights. They are not finding out that I was in jail. Because I'm going to tell you something. Although my mother did tell me, kill first, ask questions later, my mother was scarier than any county jail, period. Ask all my siblings, ask anybody that knew Shirley. I would rather deal with the Saginaw County Jail than Shirley Mae Roberson. So I said, you know what? I don't need that call. They were like, hey, you have one call. I said, I don't need the call. So I stayed in jail and did not call anybody because I was thinking they were just going to let me out and then I would just make up some lie. But after day 2, they were like, a detective wants to talk to you. If you talk to him, then, you can get out. And I said, okay, great. So I go and tell him the whole story again. Now that we know the first 48, we know not to do this shit. But I didn't know any better than to talk to the detective before I had a lawyer. So I tell him the whole story and he's like, oh, and he's acting all like he's sympathetic and he gets it. And oh my God, this happened to you. And as soon as I'm done, he's like, well, thank you for your story. That is unfortunate and have a good day. And I said, have a good day. I'm not getting out. He's like, no, you just told me that you threatened to burn down a nightclub with 200 people in it. And I said, sir, after a man attacked me, what about what he did to me? I was like, I wasn't going to burn the place down. My friends were in there. What about me? What he did to me? He said, ma'am, what you did trumps anything. Some man throwing you, like you said, attacking you does not, it does not equate to killing 200 people in a fire. Like, I'm sorry. And I was like, but he was like, ma'am, I gotta go. So that's when I knew that the motherfuckers was shady. I said, they got my testimony and lied to me. So I went back in the bunker with all the ladies. And I'm going to tell you, it's pretty funny being in jail because the ladies, they pray, they do your hair, they do all of that. And I went back in, I told them how it went. I was crying and they were like, oh my God. And they actually all stood around in a circle and they prayed for me. They were like, we pray that Shamika get out of here. They trying to take her down. Like, it was actually a pretty cute experience. The women are not that bad. A lot of them were in there for just stealing and shit like that. There were a couple of people in there for attempted murder. Some girl told me whatever. But anyway, most of the women were so sweet and they prayed for me. And thank God they prayed for me because the third day is the day that you have to take your weave out. You cannot keep your weave in after day 3 because that means you're most likely going to stay there a little longer. If you stay past day 3, they think you're going to be staying there a little longer and they don't want you to hide weapons like razor blades and things in your hair. So once day 3 came, I said, you know what? Sister just got a new weave. I was supposed to be in a beauty pageant. I wasn't going to tell this part, but my friend was like, you have to tell that part because it was just part of the funny situation. So I was supposed to be in a beauty pageant the following week. Rehearsals were that weekend. I missed it because obviously I was in jail. But the main reason why I didn't want to take my weave out was because I knew I had to be in the beauty pageant. I just got it done, freshly done for the pageant. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get out and just say I was sick for the weekend. But come to find out, all the little bitches that knew that they was going to lose and the pageant against me had told the pageant people that I had been put in jail and the story had gotten out and they kicked me out of the pageant. So anyway, whoever won that year, fuck you. You wouldn't have won if I didn't go to jail that weekend. But, and I was going to dance off of Janet. pleasure principal with the chair and all, y'all. It was going to be a scene. Anyway, that didn't happen. I finally decided to call my parents because I did not want my weave to be taken out. That was my limit. And it was day 3. And I said, oh no. So I called my parents, told them what was happening. My bail was set at, I believe, $5,000 or $7,500. 10% of that, $750 it was to get me out. So they did not drop the charges, guys. They decided to charge me with a felony. If you are not aware, any form of arson is considered a felony. Even if you burn a flower, it is considered a felony because a flower can then burn up the whole neighborhood, so they don't take arsons seriously. So there is a charge called attempted arson, preparation to burn. That's an actual factual charge. So I was charged, even though I did not burn anything down, with a felony, 10 years imprisonment. The charge was called attempted arson, preparation to burn. Yes, that's a charge. And they charged me with it. So I was charged and put on trial for a felony. At the time, unfortunately, my mother was actually sick from cancer. And my dad, hardworking man, he didn't know what was going on. So when I look back at it now, it's pretty crazy to think that I went through this all by myself. But I went to the trial dates and everything by myself again because my mother was sick. I would call her. I would tell her what was going on. I think my dad maybe came to trial maybe one time and then he just dropped me off the rest of the time. So imagine a 19 to 20-year-old girl, Black girl by herself going to trial against a white establishment, not only the club, but this white man as well. Like, it was pretty crazy. So I ended up getting a lawyer and trying, obviously, to fight it. And this is where the story gets interesting and where I'm going to wrap this up. So when it came time for the actual trial, I would go to the pre-trial. I remember the judge being extremely understanding and super nice to me and just a really nice judge. Shout out to Fred Borchard. I believe he's still a attorney, a actual judge. A judge still in Saginaw. Fred Borchard, you are amazing for what you did next. So let me tell you what Fred ended up doing. So I don't know if you guys know this, but when you go into a trial, they will show you who your jury would be. So I was given the opportunity to see who my jury would be, the 12 individuals that would decide my fate. When you grow up, you're always told that a jury is a jury of your peers. So my peers look like people that are around their 20s, 30s, mixed Black, white, Spanish, whatever, all races. This jury was 12 white people over the age of 40 and above. And I remember looking at them and thinking, those aren't my peers. They look like the people that closed the door on me at Hollywood Nights that told me to get the fuck away from that door. They're going to fry me, no pun intended. I'm not going to win. But you also have the opportunity to choose a judge trial. That is very, very unlikely. I did try to look up the statistics, but I couldn't find it. But for a defendant to choose a jury trial, which means all 12 people have to agree with the same thing versus just one person saying yay or nay, most people choose a jury trial because that means 12 people have to agree on guilty or not guilty. And with the judge, just one person who's actually studied the law, that knows it through and through, makes that same decision. So the likelihood of you getting a better outcome from a judge, most people don't choose that option. But I looked at my lawyer and I said to him, I want to go with the judge trial. He said, no, I don't think that's a good decision. I said, those aren't my peers. I don't want to do this. And he was like, I don't think that's a good decision. And I said, can you give me a minute? I need to call my mom. So they put it on recess and I went outside of the courtroom and I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm choosing the judge trial over jury. She was like, what? She didn't know what the heck I was talking about. And she's like, girl, baby, do whatever is best for you. I said, okay. So I went back in and I told my lawyer, I said I want a judge trial. I trusted him over those 12 white people, even though he was a white male judge. But I just remember how he had treated me. And I chose him. And I don't know if he felt because I was a bold ass bitch for doing that, and that rarely happens to him, but I did find out that choosing a judge trial is so much more easier on everybody. It makes, the trial go from literally maybe 2 to 3 weeks to a month to maybe 1 day because the judge makes the decision very quickly, and it just costs a lot less resources. You don't have to pay for the jury. It's just a lot cheaper. I didn't know any of this. I just chose it literally off of my heart and my looking at them. So I don't know if that's why he chose to do this, but Mr. Blanchard ended up pretty much throwing out everything. I beat the whole case. I don't have a record. He put me on probation for 6 months, actually, and made me go in to check in with the probation officer, which was really hilarious because clearly they knew I wasn't a bad person and didn't do drugs. And then after that, he said, everything will be erased like this never happened. If you just go for 6 months, you don't do a thing, don't say a thing, it'll be like it never happened. Can you promise me that? And I said, I promise you that. And he did it all. And you can go and look up my name. You can put in my social security number 1,000,000 times and it's over. So I just wanted to say this, guys. Anything's possible. 21 years ago, I beat out a white man that looked like he should have been on Duck Dynasty, a black girl. And yeah, this fire in me comes from a lot of that. That was one of my first extreme incidents with racism. And from there, I just have never played around with that. But I just want everyone to know, follow your gut. If I could take anything out of this, I say Jerry Springer moment that I said I'd always leave you guys with. If I can say anything to you, don't ever believe that anything is possible, because we all know how the justice system is against Black people. And nobody would ever think that I would have a Black girl like me. And this was 21 years ago, would have an outcome like that. But I believed in a greater power than a judge, than a jury. I knew that God could get me out of this. And now I'm sitting here right now with a clean record. And I've done pretty well for myself since that incident. And yeah, so guys, just never give up. Don't let anybody fucking play with you. And whatever your mama told you to do it. Period. With that said, thanks guys for listening.